were kind of stuck for some time in this analysis, preparation, analysis paralysis / waiting for investor mode. We were preparing, and then there was this kind of bolt of lightning. What stops us from starting?
Boris, Diakonov and Eduard Panteleev, who are the co-founders of Anna Money, the UK-based business account that combine finance, tax and admin tools in one AI-powered platform.
We think that it's cost, frustration, and it's time, which we can save to people. And AI is pretty much capable of dealing with that, much more efficient.
Where does Anna sit now compared to those days?
It's still our everything, even more so.
It's 50,000 customers, nearly 30 million in ARR in pounds, growing at 83-85% a year.
Wow.
It's healthy, baby. It's out of the incubator.
Welcome to Screw It, Just Do It, the show for those who decided to screw it and just did it. I'm Alex Chisnall, host of this podcast and co-founder of the Festival of Entrepreneurs at the NEC in Birmingham this October 8th and 9th. This is the podcast that brings you face-to-face with the entrepreneurs and business rebels who threw caution to the wind and built something extraordinary. Quick heads up, registration is now open for this year's Festival of Entrepreneurs. Join us at the NEC in Birmingham on October the 8th and 9th for 2 game-changing days with 200 plus speakers and thousands of ambitious founders. Get your free limited 2-day pass at festivaloventrepreneurs.co.uk or click my personal link in the show notes.
First question that I will come up with will be, take me back to your Screw It, Just Do It moment when you decided to stop waiting and to actually go into building mode with Anna.
All right. It was this rainy day when I came to Belsize Kitchen to meet Boris and Nikita, co-founders of Honor, and they were anxious to know how the meeting with the potential investor went. And I told them that went well, and Will is very positive. And one of the guys, Slava, asked like, okay, is he transferring the money? And I said, no.
Not what you wanted.
And at that moment, we just decided that we stop waiting and start doing. And that was the moment. It was a rainy day. I think it was September or something.
And that was, screw it moment.
Screw it moment. And what was there anything holding you back before? Was there, a fear of starting over, any other baggage, or you tell me? Was it just good timing?
Well, we looked at the UK market when we were thinking of launching an accounting type of platform, and the complexity and the sheer size of the market were a bit scary, and the fact that we are coming from a different country, not knowing anyone here and not knowing the details, that was a bit scary in the beginning. But once we start, doing stuff like building small prototypes, etc., that we built conviction.
Yeah, we were kind of stuck for some time in this analysis, preparation, analysis paralysis / waiting for investor mode. And then suddenly it was like,
So there wasn't from either of you guys, there wasn't, hesitation or resistance necessarily. It was exactly as you've just said, Boris.
Well, we were preparing, and then there was this kind of bolt of lightning thought, what stops us from starting? And then obviously, apart Eduard is humbly admitting it was his willingness to finance that the start.
And have you ever thought, where do you think you would be now if you hadn't have taken that step? Like, what would each of you be doing?
Never occurred to me.
It's a great answer, Boris.
Well, we wouldn't be talking about how we had this moment.
No, exactly that. Well, let's go back to the early days. Tell me a little bit more about why start again in the UK, and why specifically the model that you've chosen.
Do you want a very short version or a longer version?
I've got lots of questions. Let's go short version.
Okay, a shorter version would be we were developing a similar business focused on small businesses and entrepreneurs, and it was quite successful. And then, because of all the geopolitical changes, we had this thought that we need to bring this goodness that we've created to other markets. And the market of choice was South Africa. And then Eduard was 1 week away from moving over there. But then things kind of didn't work out as expected. And then we just thought, actually, with the kind of some inspiration from people that we were talking to in South Africa, well, why won't you go check out London? I was hesitant at first because there were no penguins in London. So we came to UK and started looking at the market and found it deeply underserved. People being mistreated by the bank, spending a bunch of time on admin, and yeah.
And what kind of timeline would you say in that period then, from South Africa to coming to the UK? Researching the market. How long did that take for you guys?
About a year.
A year.
Less than a year, but about a year.
And what, I totally get it, the market being underserved, etc. What ultimate problem were you kind of obsessed with solving that the traditional banks ignored?
Well, it's not about the banking as such, and it's not about banks or this traditional kind of silos, but it's more about a challenge and the problem at the same time. Like, we were thinking that the technologies are evolving, and it was before LLMs and before reasoning agents, but we kind of felt that it's going quite fast and there would be breakthroughs. We thought that taking the payment information, enriching it with documents such as invoices, etc., theoretically lays foundations for automatic categorization and building a ledger in an automatic way, and then preparing taxes without human interaction, without actually, human being involved. And at the same time, we see the pain of small business owners who, need to pay excessive fees and being not very welcome by traditional service providers, and the quality of those services and the price, could be better. And we thought that there's an opportunity and there's a need for a cheaper, more reliable solution, especially for the smaller end of the market, and especially for those who who cannot afford expensive integrations, several products, and who need a very simple solution who just does it for them. And we thought that UK in that sense is a great market, with an environment which has a lot of small business, sole traders, solopreneurs. On the one hand, pretty kind of favorable regulation, but also the capital available. And we thought that it's just the perfect market to try to build something on. And and we are very happy in hindsight that we did that, in the sense that we do something that we feel is needed. We think that there's a huge potential and huge need for that. So we were right about identifying the opportunity here, but also it's a great place, and it's just a very. I mean, people are grumpy about UK and particularly recently, but it's a great place.
I actually became a customer of yours, which I don't think I've told you. I became a customer of yours back in March, I think. And funnily enough, the first thing that I thought was fantastic was the invoice, which I wasn't expecting that at all. And then also just things, as a business owner myself, just things like not knowing how much money to pay yourself, how to pay yourself, how much money to leave in there. And then, you obviously jumped on AI way earlier than 99.9% of the world's population. But, getting suggestions on tax savings and things like that, I've never come across anything like that before. So I think it's, I haven't got you on the podcast because I've become a customer. We've come through the Festival of Entrepreneurs, but I have to say I'm massively impressed, and I think it's fantastic what you're building. What did the first version look like when you started? Because I obviously wouldn't have seen that.
Well, it was able to onboard a customer. That's about it.
It was an MVP at its best.
Right. Okay.
Like a textbook MVP.
A textbook one. Right. Okay.
Well, just to give you a flavor of it, it couldn't produce a statement.
Ah, okay.
But it was able to accept payments and pay. But was in the first weeks, and also, there was no billing and there was no fees for that reason. So we offered it for free, not because, for all sorts of different reasons, but partly just because we didn't have the billing.
Yeah. But then how did you build traction? How did you get traction if that was like the early model?
By trial and error, and by just getting on more customers, building.
By meowing.
Meowing.
you know how cats attract attention. That's kind of what we did. Daljit, one of the co-founders, said, "Well, is there product truth that we can promote?" And he asked exactly the same question as you did. What can the product do? And we said, well, and he said, well, can we make it meow? Like, make it what? And developers, can you make it meow? They said, well, we can make it do anything, right? He said, okay, make it meow. And that's how our first campaign about meowing business cards started.
That's a great story. I was going to literally say, kind of leading on to that, how did you came up with that, but how did you come up with like the brand tone, the cat, the humor, the jokes, what's traditionally a very like blue and heavy traditional industry?
Well, initially we came up with a name. It's Anna, and Anna was simple. It's symmetric. It starts with an A, so first letter of the alphabet, and it's something that you would remember. Like you hear it once and you remember it. Like you don't need to think, oh, what was it? Like exactly. So, and the other thing is that it has a character. You may imagine a character or a person or something human behind it, female. And we thought that, in the world where everybody was like vertical, metal, blue, kind of aggressive, very masculine, etc., we thought that, something a bit smiley, something a bit more humorous, something a bit softer would probably be a good alternative, not just to be differentiated, but, people are different. So, not all people are, cats. Some of them are dogs. So
we did dogs later, yes.
But we thought that it's going to be kind of in a world where everybody is serious. We wanted to smile. That's about it.
Excuse the pun, but has anybody come up with any like copycat versions of what you've done?
Interestingly, it's funny, but we acquired a company in Australia later, which is called Cape, and the founder was we didn't know that, and that was not the reason why. But interestingly enough, he was trying. He liked the branding, and he actually created Cape very much like resembling Anna, slightly different, but very much inspired by Anna, tones and etc.
And that's in terms of the branding. Yeah, in terms of the product, I think there was a year where every week we would find somebody trying to copycat the client promises or kind of the product or the pricing. At the time, it wasn't even funny. I mean, literally, there was every week either an SME business account coming to the market or somebody just copying a landing page or something like that. But it's got better since then.
Yeah, I remember chatting to Richard Reed from Innocent Drinks and him saying, you know, so many people were then trying to copy the actual copy, you know, of the branding on the bottles and stuff like that, but in completely different products. And how you actually, have any IP on that, I don't know. Were there any mistakes that nearly derailed everything in those early days of the business for you guys?
Well, I don't know if it's a mistake, but we chose Wirecard to be our backend partner in the early days. And when their operations were frozen by FCA for 3 days, we nearly lost it all.
I mean, that backfired. I mean, full-blown backfired.
So what literally happened in those 3 days then? What literally happened?
I mean, nothing.
Nothing, exactly.
I mean, in terms of our capacity to, in terms of Wirecard's capacity to process payments and cards, but then a lot of happened during these 3 days. So.
Yeah, well, we couldn't serve customers, as simple as that. And we had to go public about it. So that was our first...
Podcast?
Yeah, okay. You jumped on and
owned
the narrative.
And there were like 3,000 people on it. And they were very, very angry and pissed off. And there was they were very, very rightfully angry. And they were grilling us for, I don't know, I don't remember, like, seems like 2 hours or 3 hours, like we spent on that, like answering their questions. And
it was in the middle of COVID, so no haircuts available. And
fancy dress.
Yeah. So it wasn't the best appearance, and not the one that was kind of pre-planned months in advance.
No, exactly. Would you say, in hindsight, that was like the lowest moment you've had on the journey so far, or?
No, I don't think it was the lowest. The lowest was probably when we were trying to buy out shareholders due to some, risks of sanction connections, etc. That was probably the closest when we were thinking seriously of winding down the business.
How close did you come, do you think, really, to closing things down then? Was that?
Very close. We were like having discussions about, Excel tables of, wind down plans and calculating, cash spend and appointing administrators and, and we were investigating like for how long we shall keep customer data and how much that would cost. So we were very, very close.
And how would that have affected you both, like personally at the time? Have you got other businesses, other interests, or was this everything? Like this was your baby?
This was everything.
Wow. So you could have lost everything.
Pretty much.
And where does Anna sit now compared to those days? 3 years on. I guess.
It's still our everything. Even more so.
Yeah.
It's 50,000 customers, nearly 30 million in ARR in pounds, growing at 83-85% a year.
Wow.
82% gross margin. So,
congratulations.
Doing well.
It's healthy, baby. It's out of the incubator.
Yeah, big time.
And with an indefinite runway, which is...
I love it. How did you stay aligned then, like especially during those difficult times? How do you stay aligned as co-founders through those like difficult decisions? You obviously know each other pretty well by now, right?
Well, we're still learning. I don't know. we just try. I think that we just try to listen to each other, even if we disagree. We try to think about it. Okay, what's the point that he's trying to make? Like, what is coming from? So it's just it's easy to get emotional. It's one thing, but you have to recognize that yours emotions and your partner emotions and and respect those. Like, even if they're negative, like, you still need to kind of be supportive of those. But emotions, one thing, but there's also different backgrounds, different experiences, and different views, and sometimes it's just important to listen, and being able to communicate your point also in a way which you sometimes fail to communicate, and it's your failure. You have to acknowledge that, and you have to do it in a different way, and
rinse and repeat.
Yes, but being also respectful that you may be wrong.
Who's the best listener out of you two, would you say?
Boris. He's the savior.
Savior. I love it.
I just don't have a lot of opportunities to say something.
That's why you have to listen. Right. I get it.
And now you know the reason why. I just better keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I get it.
So knowing your weaknesses is another one. Yes.
True. Very true. What's your biggest weakness then, Edward?
My biggest weakness, I probably can be too confident and I can be pushy, and I can be. I mean, when you think that you are right, you just try to just get there.
I'm going to say Boris is going to agree with all of this, I take it.
Well, Boris is listening,
Boris is listening. Okay, changing tack slightly. At what moment, especially telling me like what the original iteration was like, at what moment did you actually know that Anna was working how you wanted it to work? Was there a moment? Was there a day? Was there a week? Was there a month where there was traction? You're like, right, this is working now. Here we go.
I don't know how is it for you, Boris, but for me, it's never been like a one single moment. It's been more like, we were like testing different parts, like, are we able to acquire customers? Are we able to retain them? Can we actually get them onto taxes? How we do this, and what the experience is, etc. So it's all like a kind of this, small bits which build up on each other. It's like a bit of a staircase. You do one step, like you do the other step, etc. So it's more like a journey rather than a particular moment, I would say. And it's and the thing is that with the progress, with you start kind of seeing different horizons. And you then see the other opportunities that you haven't seen before or thought of that differently, and you start testing that, etc. So, Anna is, as a concept, is also evolving, and from where we started initially, where we are now, and even the progress the last year is quite big. So it's not like a very different vertical or a different but the way we think about the potential of the business model and of the company is always changing, and from that perspective, you kind of test what you kind of build conviction around whatever you thought like was a year ago, 2 years ago, and then it constantly moves, and then it is something that is more like a journey rather than a one-off event.
Yeah, and for me it is like Edward gains a lot of confidence in looking at Excel models. Kind of would see how things are kind of happening there, and For me, I gain confidence when I kind of, well, when I start seeing that clients are happy to pay for what we deliver, which in startup talk is called, or startup speak is called product market fit or positive unit economy. And another big one for me is when I sense kind of an energy in the team that is larger than each individual there, and the teams are starting to surprise in a positive way. I mean, teams are never short of surprising in a negative way, but I mean, when teams start to surprise in a positive way more than they start to surprise in a negative way, with these two things, I was like, wow, it's happening. And then another one is customers genuinely happy or positively surprised with what we do, and they are not shy of talking about it. It's like, wow.
If you're enjoying this conversation and thinking, I need to be around more people like this, then I've got the perfect solution for you. The Festival of Entrepreneurs is where 5,000 to 10,000 ambitious entrepreneurs come together to learn from the people who've actually done it. It's on October the 8th and 9th at the NEC in Birmingham, and I'm giving my listeners free 2-day passes. Real entrepreneurs, real stories, real strategies. Exactly like what you're hearing right now, but live and in person. Go to festivaloventrepreneurs.co.uk and get your free 2-day pass before they're gone.
Yeah, I was definitely positively surprised because, you think I've been had a bank account for, decades and decades, and you just get the same thing from the next bank that you move to, and of course a lot of people stay with the same bank for a very long time, which is what I did, like 30 years since the bank I signed up with as a student. It's kind of standard journey, isn't it? How different then, like, you talk about the journey, how different is the vision now then, especially as you said, things have accelerated, especially like the last 12 months. How different is the vision now compared to when you started? What are you looking to achieve now compared to what you were looking to achieve then?
In a way, we're looking at the same direction, but with a better optics.
Okay.
You know this sense when you put your glasses on and there's suddenly more detail and more color, and you can see a bit further.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But also, there's the way we look at the business model right now is, or maybe potential future, not as it is right now, but something, the direction of travel is, we started off as a business account. We now added tax functionality, and and we want to emphasize it more and more, and then being able to onboard people just on tax services rather than on the business account and taxes. But then we think that we can actually be more supportive in other areas of the business, especially when we understand our customers much better and we understand the business much better. And that we do through the data that we process of what they actually do, and their cycles and their sales and their kind of supplies, etc. Then we are in a much better position to be more useful to them. And by adding this functionality and service to them, we are kind of making this relationship even stickier and more valuable to customers. But on the other hand, not all of these products may not necessarily be, ours, but maybe those will be kind of by other service providers. And that evolves into a different kind of solution than, you have a name for it at the moment. But that's a grand kind of future, which is not something that I can point to right now, but this is something that would be interesting to explore.
And do you see, again, business owners always looking to save costs, obviously looking to trim costs. Do you see what you're building as replacing bookkeepers and accountants, or how do you see that relation? Yeah.
Essentially, for many small businesses, for all of them, honestly, like those which don't involve in very complex transactions, etc. You don't need an account, and an accountant is even optimized, with all this kind of things and efficiencies, etc. It's just unnecessary cost. And also with all the optimization and business models around it, etc. Still, human dealing with 300, 400 clients, it's messy, and it's expensive. It's not good quality. It's frustrating sometimes, and we think it's a totally unnecessary. And with the current level of technologies, etc., you can just do it much better, more predictable, asynchronous,
and it's time consuming, right? As a small business owner, exactly, to go back and forth with your accountant and your bookkeeper, and it usually comes right at the busiest end of the quarter or whatever, and you have no time to deal with questions. I've just gone through it myself, literally now. So, end of year.
Yes, exactly. So, and it's totally unnecessary. And we think that it's cost, it's frustration, and it's time, which we can save to people. And AI is pretty much capable of dealing with that, much more efficient, better, and save a lot of cost and time.
If you were to do anything again, would there be anything you would do differently?
Probably, I don't know.
Way faster. Yeah, that's a good answer.
It's wishful thinking.
Yeah, it is that. You can't change it. What do you wish someone had told you? This is like to both of you. What do you wish someone had told you when you were starting out on the idea with Anna?
I don't know. I am of the opinion that you hear what you're prepared to hear, and if you don't hear somebody, there's always someone telling something which may be relevant to you and useful. You just don't hear it for some reason. You just ignore to hear it. So if I've ignored to hear it for some reason, maybe there was a reason for that. I don't know.
Yeah. You're so dialed into where you're trying to get to, you don't necessarily hear it. What about you, Boris?
Oh, bunch of small things, but philosophically, I would totally agree with Edward, because in the hindsight, the signs were there. There were people politely, in a British way, asking, well, have you carefully considered your contract with Wirecard? Which now I understand should have read, run.
Yeah, run.
One of the things we were not, I guess, ready for in our dreams, we had our first meetings in Shoreditch, and at least in my dreams, the typical British small business would be kind of Shoreditch based, and it turned out not to be. It turned out to be that a lot of small businesses that we see starting in the country are actually being started by immigrants. A lot of them not with the greatest command of the language, not full understanding how kind of the whole system works. They just want to make a living somehow. And bunch of other things.
Would you say now, do you have like one ideal customer, or do you have like a bunch of different avatars that you're kind of focused on?
I think it's a bunch of different avatars. And one of the complexities we face is that we need to be good to very different personas. And that is challenging in a way, because if you're good to someone, you may not necessarily be good for that reason to the other one. And that's one of the challenges, because we want to be the broadest service possible for this smaller end of the market, like for the micro, nano, solo entrepreneurs. And they're very, very different. Sectors, personas, education, background, needs, expectations, language. Very different. And we discovered that some of the things that we sometimes do are appealing to some groups, which we never realized we actually did. And then sometimes in hindsight, we are very happy that we've discovered that, especially for, people like some neurodiverse people found the app quite supportive. And we were positively surprised, and we decided that we need to invest more time in understanding the needs of this particular kind of audience, because I don't know, it just fills you with positive emotions when you see that people otherwise maybe struggling, they find you useful, and you think, okay, good.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of facets to your business, clearly. What keeps each of you up at night? Like, what are you warriors? Do you have, not warriors? Do you wake up at early hours of the morning and it's always the same kind of things that are coming up? Because I know what it's like. Boris is a warrior. Go on, Boris. What do you worry about?
On Fridays?
Frantic Fridays.
I mean, all kinds of stuff. It's sometimes the process is broken. Sometimes I'm worried whether finances are okay. Sometimes I'm worried whether our controls are robust enough. Sometimes I'm worried because somebody in the team said something to somebody in the team and they both might not be happy. And what do we do with that? And sometimes I'm worried because I'm not happy. Sometimes I'm worried because Eduard is not happy. And no.
Yeah, but I think that one thing which for me, which I find not necessarily driving myself, but where I find kind of satisfaction if when I see that how sometimes a difficult idea or concept or product or user journey, whatever, starts with something which is usually, well, we don't have the resources, like how do we play, like blah blah blah, all these kind of conversations, and then somehow gets traction, gets people excited and being realized, and then getting launched, and then having people using it and and commenting on it positively, that reinforces this energy in the team. That is very it's a good feeling, like you did something like a cycle and then you see the results of that, and that makes feel good.
Kind of finishing up now, guys. I've got like a quick fire round to finish up on with some questions for you. But numbers, you're doing fantastic. That growth, like year on year, what do you attribute that to? Like how you've managed to scale the business? Are there any like key factors that you could point out that you think people listening would be interested in thinking about when it comes to their own business? Like what have you kind of focused on to get that kind of scale that you're nearly doubling year on year?
Well, it all starts with the funnel. Like we had this conversation that was telling, I just feel the funnel's broken. And as he shared in the beginning, when he's really convinced, he makes sure everybody else is convinced. So, and it took a while, but then we paid really close attention to the funnel, and that helped a lot. I mean, we were losing clients here and there just in the first seconds or minutes of life, and then. Another thing is just eliminating stupidity, because we started with a mission of being no nonsense, but just by human nature we keep doing and then replicating some stupid things that we never planned to do, but they just kind of happen. I mean, nobody how did you plan to do these stupid things? How did you plan to ask the client the same question 3 times in a row? How did you plan just to lose that bit of information? Nobody would say that I've planned it. We just kind of do it. So just ruthlessly looking at that, eliminating that, and then just being funny.
Yeah, being funny. Well, you're definitely both funny. I'll give you that, and a funny user experience as well, which is good. Last question before the quickfire round. What would you say to somebody who is they have their idea for their business, but for whatever reason they're not taking action? They're procrastinating. They're sitting on it. They're not doing the thing that they need to do. What advice would either of you give to somebody who's listening in that situation?
I don't know. One of the things, and it depends. Like maybe they shouldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's fair comment.
But one thing which helps to decide whether to drop an idea, which you should drop, or to proceed with it and take it to the next level, is talk to people around you and get them enthusiastic about it. Not politely agreeing with you, but just, really enthusiastic. Because if you can't build conviction around it, I don't think that anybody should be pressed to do something just because there was an idea and just because it was long procrastinated over. It's not a good reason to do. It's probably a good reason to stop.
Yeah.
But one thing to help is just maybe build conviction, but not just force yourself into this, but just allow this to happen. But that is going through interaction with other people.
Is the right answer like screw it, do it, or something like that?
There you go. Paid him. We paid the man.
Yeah, but like weirdly, nothing happens with great energy. But then great energy never happens until there is some action taken. So it's kind of this chicken and egg dilemma, because conviction needs to be there, but conviction gets reinforced when you kind of start playing with it. There is a great saying: if you really want to do some work, just sit on a sofa long enough till the desire to do this work disappears. So that would be anti-advice. Just sitting on the couch long enough probably ain't gonna get you there.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, look, just gonna coming up to our hour, so thank you very much indeed for your time. Quickfire questions. So maybe do one each, take it in turns, and whatever the first thing comes into your head. Let's go, Edward first. What is an entrepreneur for you?
Somebody who creates resources out of nothing. Somebody who, is actually being able to put different things together, which already are in existence, but you just create value or whatever, something out of which was non-existent, but seemingly non-existent. It exists, but you just pull these different bits together and then something appears. Perfect.
Boris, what is a scale-up business for you?
A business that scales.
Oh my God, never had that answer. No one said that answer before. Nobody.
Simple, right? But
best answer of the day.
I mean, a business that has a reason to scale, both economically and because the product is in demand. And you can be scaling eternal losses, and that's not really a scale up. It's a pyramid, a Ponzi.
Yeah.
Either for investors or whatever.
Yeah. Edward, back to you. Why do you think the USA is better at producing scale-up businesses than the UK, for example?
It's not better. Look, I don't want to go into all this, but UK will be better.
Good. That's a better answer. Yeah. Boris, what can entrepreneurs look forward to when hearing you speak at the Festival of Entrepreneurs?
I'll try to memorize a couple jokes. But I can also promise to be vulnerable and honest, and
Perfect. And this one will go to both of you then. What founder do you admire the most? And that can be somebody now, or that could be just somebody in the past that's always been an inspiration to you. So maybe Eduard first and then Boris. What founder do you admire the most?
Wow.
I thought you were looking at Boris and you were going to go Boris because he just looked straight at the side, and I thought he was just going to point and go, I admire Boris.
Boris. No, I don't know. I don't know. The way I look at it is that I don't know. There's a lot of great people who have done great businesses and founded these great businesses, but honestly, if you ask me like who I admire this class of people, this group of people, but individually they're very different, and I like them all. But do I admire them? I don't know. It's probably not the thing that I would call it like admiration. I respect them.
Yeah, respect them.
And my take on that it's a bit of a kind of dangerous question. I mean, people were admiring Elon, then they were not admiring Elon, then they might start admiring Elon again. Yeah. I mean...
yeah, true.
And in a way, if you dig like with every founder, I mean, there are some things they did great, then they often had some horrible personality traits. Yeah. Some people didn't have horrible personality traits but failed miserably. Some made it out of pure luck. Some didn't make it out of pure luck. And but yeah, I would share Edward's sentiment, but it's incredibly encouraging to see people envision something and then just put all of their best to try to make it happen, whether it actually happened or not.
I have a better answer. I may admire
better than mine,
person.
Or better than yours?
Better than mine.
Okay.
Better than mine. I can admire the way I relate to this is I can admire a person, but not for the fact that they are an entrepreneur or not. Like it's just a person. You can admire a personal. You can admire character, but be it a politician or an entrepreneur, it's a different thing. But I cannot admire someone for just being an entrepreneur. I mean, I respect them, and I like this, kind of journey, and I respect and admire all of them for this. But personality is something that I attribute more to personal traits rather than to what they do. And
how much money they've earned, because that sometimes might not be related to anything at all.
Well, look, guys, thank you so much. Looking forward to you at the Festival of Entrepreneurs. Thank you for your support as well. Much appreciated indeed. And thank you very much, and good luck with the business in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That conversation just proves something. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So here's my challenge. Upgrade your network. The Festival of Entrepreneurs is happening October the 8th and 9th, and I'm giving my listeners free 2-day passes to get in the room with 5,000 to 10,000 entrepreneurs who are actually building something. This is where the risk takers, the game changers, and the people who've decided to screw it and just do it come for inspiration, education, and connection. Don't just listen to their success stories, go meet the people living them. Grab your free pass now, because the biggest risk isn't taking a chance, it's missing the opportunity entirely. If this conversation resonated with you, don't just sit there, act on it. Make sure you follow or subscribe for more game-changing conversations, and remember, the only thing standing between you and your business breakthrough is the decision to screw it and just do it.